Steph Curry was third in the MVP vote last season. It was a spectacular one for him personally. The Warriors went 39-33, but missed out on the postseason after losing the play-in games. And of course, Klay Thompson did not play for a second straight season this time because of the Achilles injury, and the rookie James Wiseman missed the final 21 games of the season. None of that is news to our next guest, head coach Steve Kerr, who is celebrating his 56th birthday today. Happy birthday, Coach.
Thank you, Matt. How are you?
Good. So far, so good. Good to have you with us here. Let's start with the Andrew Wiggins situation, which I'm sure if you haven't been asked already, you're about to a bunch of times. Fans probably know by now. On Friday, the NBA denied Wiggins' request for exemption from San Francisco's vaccination requirement. That means because of local policy, he would not be eligible to play in home games as things stand. How is the organization approaching this situation with Wiggins?
Well, we're just kind of letting it play out, Matt. We're respecting Andrew's privacy, and so we're not really talking publicly about it. It's not really in our hands. It's up to the city. It's up to the NBA, and we'll just see where it all goes. But we're confident that when the season starts, things will be ironed out, and we'll be ready to roll.
Steve, when people think of your team, because of all the success you had, I think everybody thinks of the offense and how the ball moves and the way those guys shoot the ball. But you guys have always been pretty good defensively. And last year, with a young team, you guys were fifth in the league defensively. What went into that? And do you expect that kind of continued success going into this season?
Well, yeah, first of all, good to see you, Stan. I appreciate the compliment. I think the biggest thing, honestly, is Draymond Green, to me, is the most versatile defender in the NBA, and he set the tone for us. I thought he had a great year last year. We talked about Andrew Wiggins. His length and versatility gave us someone we could put on the opponent's best wing player. And then I think we just had a lot of guys who really played well and came together, fit well into our schemes, and it was just a really good defensive season for us. But we got to back it up. We've got to do it again this year with some different personnel, so the challenge starts all over again.
Coach Kerr, how you doing? I have a question about your young big fella. I'm always going to be partial to the bigs. How do you get James Wiseman going this season? Because he's in a unique situation. The average guy that gets drafted to a team that high gets to play through his mistakes and he gets to learn on the fly. But you guys obviously are going to be a team that's trying to compete for a championship, so you kind of don't have the time to wait for that growth period. How do you manage that?
Well, Brendan, we're going to really put the work in with James like we did a year ago in practice, in games, in the film room. We're going to give him every opportunity to improve. And the one thing we can't really do much about is just the amount of media coverage and judgment that there is today. I think it's never been more difficult to be a player in this league than right now. And, for James, a guy who has not had a summer league or a training camp in his first 2 years after playing 3 college games, it's just going to take some time. But he's unbelievably gifted and skilled and a great human being, just somebody who wants to win, wants to get better. He's putting all the work into his rehab. It's going to play out well for James. He's going to have a great career. It's just going to take some time, and it's our job as an organization to assess that and sort of take it one step at a time.
Steve, obviously you and your players and Warriors fans, and most importantly, Klay Thompson himself, are waiting for the moment when he's back on the floor sometime soon. The organization announced last week that Klay is, quote, on pace to return sometime this season. That's obviously purposely vague and for good reasons. What is he doing basketball-wise at this point, and how many hurdles does he have to clear before he's ready to play in a game?
He will do everything tomorrow in camp, Matt, other than contact stuff. So, right now Klay's out on the floor. He's shooting, he's running, he's cutting. He's feeling great, both mentally and physically. He's really, really excited about where he is. It's the first time in almost 2 years that the light is kind of at the end of the tunnel. So, for the time being, he will continue his work on the court. Eventually, we'll work him into contact stuff. And then from there, you just assess, when he's going to be able to get out on the floor. But there's no timetable. It's all going to be based on how he's feeling and what our training staff decides to do.
There are a lot of folks rooting for him to return just as fans. Obviously, you guys want him back there as well. It'll be good to see him back on the floor. Steve, good to see you. Thanks for the time, as always. Happy birthday, and I can only imagine that you planned Media Day for your birthday just so you could have both on at the same time, right?
Yes, so fun. So much fun.
I can hear it in your voice. Appreciate it. Enjoy the day.
All right, see you guys. Thanks.
All right, Steve.
All right, it's the birthday boy, Steve Kerr, with us here on Media Day. Nothing better than Media Day for your birthday. Warriors will be what this year?
The Warriors will be whatever Klay Thompson is. Whatever version of Klay Thompson is, that's what the Warriors will be. If he's back to his old self, they're championship level. Because that backcourt is dynamic. They're going to move the ball. The floor spacing is going to be incredible. And I think Steph Curry had his best year as a pro last season. Because, it's easy to put up those big-time stats when you got Klay over here and you got Durant over there and no one can do anything with you. But last year, you saw teams throwing triangle and twos at him, hard double teams, and he was still able to get 32 points per game and shoot 42% from three. So when you bring Klay Thompson in, if he's able to play at a high level like we're used to seeing, that's going to add more floor spacing. And I really want to see what is he going to bring to the table defensively, because he really allowed Steph to be Steph. Steph never had to guard the tough point guards in his heyday because Klay would always check them. If you think back to the finals, it was Klay checking Kyrie. Klay would check Dame. Can he get back to that level? And if he can, man, this Warriors team is going to be scary because they have some good athletic young pieces. They're how you want to be built for a championship level team. Some good veterans, Klay, Draymond, Steph, and then you got the young Thundercats like Wiseman and their draft picks from this season.
Yeah, look, I agree. If he can get back to that, they're legitimate contenders in the West. They're as good as anybody. My guess is his comeback will be a little bit slower than that. The Achilles is a tough injury, and generally, if you look at the guys who've come back, it takes some time even after. It's become almost like we disregard a guy like Andrew Wiggins now. Maybe he didn't live up to what some people thought the hype was coming out, and so we underrate him now. This guy's a really good player who had a great year. He'll be a big part of it. The young guys like Brennan was talking about, they've done a great job developing players there. Looney, Wiseman will get better, Toscano Anderson, and the guy I think is going to have a big, big impact on that team this year, especially until Klay comes back, is Jordan Poole. If you followed him through last year, by the end of the year, he was playing incredible basketball. This team's good, and if Klay is even 75 or 80% of what he was, they've got a great chance to contend in the West.
It's just impossible to predict how well he can play. It's been 26 plus months since he last played an NBA game right now. And he probably won't be around until November, maybe December.
But the thing is, they've layered it with good young depth because they also have Moses Moody. They have Jonathan Kuminga that they took in the